Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of Carl's Christian Podcast. Today, I'm here with Everett, and we will be discussing several different topics today, such as statues in Charlottesville, Virginia being removed, like Robert E. Lee statue, and other topics like the Olympian Gwen Berry and her not putting her hand on her heart or respecting the flag or the national anthem during the Olympics. And yeah, before we start, let Everett introduce himself again. A lot of you already know him, but I'm just going to give him a second to introduce himself again.
Thanks for having me on, Carl. Hey, everyone. This is Everett from Constitutional Conversations with Everett. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am glad to be back on the podcast, and hopefully I have some smart things to say to you today, and hopefully we won't get canceled.
Yeah, but today we're going to start off by watching 2 videos. Both of them have to do with the statues being removed, and then we're going to discuss those videos. Okay, so we're on the first video, and this is in Charlottesville, the statue being
Cheers
moved.
broke out Saturday after a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee was lifted from its base and removed entirely in Charlottesville, Virginia. This comes nearly 4 years after white supremacist protests over plans to remove it led to clashes in which a woman was killed after she was run down by a car driven by a self-described neo-Nazi. On Saturday, Charlottesville Mayor Nakia Walker spoke to a crowd gathered to watch the statue depart.
As this community and our country attempts to reconcile with this hypothesis of white supremacy, I hope that we can move to an authentic healing by embracing truth.
University of Virginia professor Larisha Hawkins said she was excited to witness this, quote, historical correction.
This is a good day. It's not erasing history. It's removing monuments that tell the wrong narrative about history. So.
A statue.
Okay, I'm just pause that real quick. So she said it's not removing history; it's just removing the narrative. Let me hear it one more time just to make sure I say it right.
About history. So.
A statue of.
It's removing monuments that tell the wrong narrative about history. So.
A statue of
she
Confederate.
Said it's not erasing history; it's about removing monuments that tell the wrong story about history. What do you think about that?
It's a very interesting take. I don't think that a statue can really tell a certain narrative about history. I think that it's more about the way that you yourself are viewing the statue. So a white supremacist can walk down the street and look at the statue and say, "Oh yeah, I love that guy. He was great back when they were doing all those terrible things." But most normal people are going to walk down the street, see the statue, and be reminded of that history. Their opinion on it does not matter. The thing that matters is that they are being reminded of that painful past, of those terrible things that happened, of our nation's history. So people are always saying, "Oh, we're a great nation, but yeah, we do have a troubled past." If we take down every marker of our troubled past, when are we going to remember it? When are you going to be able to walk down the street and, your little kid says, "Hey, what's that statue up there?" And you say, "Well, a long time ago, there were these people that did these things, and they put up that statue of that person. And every time you look at that, I want you to remember to be kind to everyone you see." We're not going to have that opportunity if we take all these down. Now, that's my personal opinion, but I don't think the statues are telling the story. I think it's how you interpret it. And if you interpret it as this is a call to action for me, I think that's a positive thing. If you're interpreting it as the statue is somehow forcing its oppression on you, I don't believe that is a legitimate critique of the statue. Right. I don't think the statue is an inanimate object. It's not doing anything. You're the one who has to decide what you're going to do, and I would hope that people would decide to do positive things from these statues that do come from a very painful past.
Yeah, as you said, they're trying to remove history, so we don't know anything about it, erase it, and leave what they want us to hear. But I personally don't think they should have taken down the statues. I don't. It's a very. People have different opinions on it. I personally don't think they should have taken down the statues because it is erasing history, and history is important for the future generations. And I think they said that this next generation, which is our generation, is like the most not most valuable, the most. It's gonna mean a lot what this generation does in the future.
Right.
But yeah, let's continue the video.
General Thomas Stonewall Jackson was also removed Saturday in another city park. Such statues, honoring leaders of the pro-slavery Confederate side in the American Civil War, have become a focus of protest against racism in recent years. In April, Virginia's highest court ruled the city could remove both statues, overturning a state circuit court decision that had upheld a citizen lawsuit. For now, officials say Charlottesville will keep the statues in storage until it makes a final decision about what to do with them.
Okay. Honestly, it's the statue thing. I don't think they should be removing it. I do understand what they're talking about, as in the people, the generals, they were for slavery. They're pro. I think it's pro slavery. Is that what they said? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Pro slavery.
It's still important to remember these people in history, and we're not proud of. America is not proud of what they did, but you still need to remember it so you can tell it to like your future generations, because history repeats itself over and over again. So
right. And I would say this, like you said, I do understand how people feel about these things, but a statue is a marker of history. I see it as very different from a flag. So say that in place of all these statues, say they were flying Confederate flags. I would be in favor of taking those down immediately. I hate Confederate flags because when I see them, I see a symbol of treason against the United States of America, a symbol of people who fought and killed Americans, right? They seceded and then they fought and killed Americans, and that was their symbol. They said, when we fly the symbol, it's because we're shooting to kill Americans and to keep slavery. That is because they had no history. Our history is, we had slavery, but also we broke away from Britain. Also, our flag was flown during the Civil War. Also, our flag was flown when we beat the Nazis, right? Our American flag has been flown in bad instances and in good instances. The Confederate flag has only been flown in bad instances. So if these people wanted to go around and take down all the Confederate flags, 100% agree, go for it. But when they want to go down and take down the markers of history, these statues, which remind us about history, and I don't believe support one side or the other, all they do is tell a story. The flag specifically supports an evil that happened, the Confederate flag. The statue only tells us the story so that we can interpret that and act on that as we will.
Okay, we're gonna watch the next video. Wait, I think I can mute this. It doesn't talk. Nearly 4 years after deadly white supremacists. Wait, let me pause that. Nearly 4 years after a deadly white supremacist rally rocked Charlottesville, Virginia, the Confederate statues that helped spark the conflict has been taken down. Okay, do you think that the statues can spark conflict, or is it I don't think anything can get you to spark. I don't think the statues themselves can get you to spark conflict. I feel like people are using the statues to spark conflict. As you said, the flag's different from a statue. Statue tells a story. The flag, it's more like it is more of a hate symbol, the Confederate flag.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think people are using these statues to fuel their political agendas, whether that's for the conservative side or the liberal side. I agree with you on that 100%.
Work to remove the statues of General Thomas Stonewall Jackson and General Robert E. Lee begins Saturday morning. Okay. Spectators by the dozens line the nearby city blocks to cheer as the statue of General Thomas what's this? I don't want to get it wrong. General Thomas Stonewall and Robert E. Lee were carted away to storage. Okay. I think that's about all. It's about the same as the other video. The removal of the statues follows years of contention, community anguish, and litigations. But yeah, it's about the same thing.
And I don't think, maybe I could get your opinion about this, but I don't think that taking down a statue actually helps the individual people. Let's say in that city in Charlottesville, the individual people who are walking around, being racist towards other people, I don't think they're going to be affected by taking a statue down. Like, I don't think that's going to give them an epiphany and all of a sudden they're not going to be racist to other people.
Yeah, taking a statue down doesn't do anything to the people who are actually racist. I mean, it's erasing history. Those people aren't gonna. They can change, but I don't even know how to phrase it. But I think the way they're doing it is not the right way to do it. So now we're gonna go on to the Olympian who she's an American track Olympian, and she protested rules last year and is still protesting currently at the Olympics. And it says during the medal ceremony for the U.S. track and the field Olympic trials, Gwen Berry, Olympian and third place finisher in the hammer throw on Saturday, turned away from the flag as the national anthem played. Berry, who earned the spot on the U.S. Olympic hammer throwing team this weekend in Eugene, Oregon, told the Associated Press she felt she had been set up after being told an anthem would play before medalists walked out to the podium for their award ceremony. She turned, placed her hand on her hip, and near the end of the Star Spangled Banner held up a t-shirt reading "Activist Athlete" and draped it over her head. They said they were going to play it before we walked out. Then they played it when we were out there, Berry said. According to U.S. track and field spokesperson Susan Hazard, the national anthem had been scheduled to play at 5:20 p.m. that day. The music did not start until 5:25 p.m. We didn't wait until the athletes were on the podium for the Hammer Throw Awards. The national anthem is played every day according to a previously published schedule, she said. Berry's protest was addressed on Monday's White House news conference, where Press Secretary Jen Psaki, I can't even pronounce the name.
I think it's a silent P.
I hope I did not say that wrong. Answered. Oh, Jen Psaki. Jen answered a question from a reporter regarding whether President Biden believed Berry's actions were appropriate for an athlete representing the U.S. at the Olympics. I know Biden is incredibly proud to be an American and has great respect for the anthem and all that it represents, she said. He would also say that the part of the pride in our country means recognizing there are moments where we as a country haven't lived up to our highest ideals. It means respecting the rights of people granted in the Constitution to peacefully protest. On Twitter, Berry posted a picture of herself turned away from the flag during the national anthem with the caption, "Stop playing with me." She repeated the line and photo on her Instagram, writing, "I said what I said. I mean what I said. Stop playing with me. Period." The unplanned protest has drawn significant criticism on social media, including from U.S. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, former U.S. Department of Education Press Secretary Angela, and Republican Dan Crenshaw of Texas, who called for Berry's removal from the Olympic team. He said, and Ted Cruz's Twitter post, he said, "Why does the left hate America? Sure, we have our faults, but no nation in the history of the world has liberated more people from captivity, has lifted more out of poverty, has bled more for freedom, or has blessed more with abundance. God bless America." Berry has used her platform to protest before. On the podium for her gold medal at the 2019 Pan American Games in Lima, Peru, the athlete threw her fist in the air during the national anthem. At that time, the move cost her sponsorships and got her suspended for 12 months. This year the trials have allowed respectful demonstrations on the topic of racial and social injustice, according to an open letter to athletes by U.S. Olympics and Paralympics Committee CEO Sarah Hirshland. Barry would go on to Tokyo with the U.S. team for her second Olympics, where protests and demonstrations are banned under Rule 50. Okay, that was a lot to read.
You did a good job.
Yeah. Do you have any comments before I give what I want to say?
Yeah, just in general, I don't. I was talking to you about this a little bit before I started recording, but I don't understand her protest. I don't understand, the flag that she is turning her back on and disrespecting is the reason that she is able to be there, doing that. The reason she's able to perform as a high caliber athlete, the reason she's able to go to the Tokyo Olympics, one of the biggest sporting events in the history of the world, and she gets to go there and do her, amazing athletic ability because she's representing that flag. Like we said before, the monuments aren't, or the statues are not symbols. They're markers of history, but flags are symbols, right? The Confederate flag is a symbol of hate. The American flag is a symbol of freedom. That's what it represents. The American flag was there when we broke away from Britain. It was there when the Union won and defeated the Confederacy and freed all the slaves. It was there when the Americans rolled into Germany and saved all of the Jews that were left from the evils of Nazism. That flag has been the biggest symbol of freedom for the past 2 centuries. And I would assume that that's what she wants. Is she wants freedom, she wants equality, she wants justice. And the only flag at the Olympics that has I should say, the flag at the Olympics that will have the best track record of equality and justice that she wants to be for is the American flag. That is the flag that she should want to represent, and that is the flag she has the privilege of representing. So I don't understand her protest. Honestly, I don't understand how she could think that. It's confusing, honestly, to me.
Yeah, she's on the American team. She's on U.S. team. She's supposed to be representing them. And then I believe she's saying there's no freedom, and she said that they didn't tell her that she would have to be on the stage while they're playing it, which is like, and then it's very confusing.
Yeah.
And then it said, let me see. Biden is incredibly proud to be an American, has great respect for the anthem and all that it represents. He would also say that part of the pride in our country means recognizing there are moments where we as a country haven't lived up to our highest ideals. I mean, that's true right there.
Right.
We haven't lived up to it. And it means respecting the rights of people granted in the Constitution to peacefully protest. You see, I guess if you wanted to protest like that, I would say then just don't be on the Olympic team.
Right.
Especially representing U.S. And like they're going to Tokyo. I said they're going to Tokyo pretty soon. You can't do that in Tokyo. So she'll have to salute, or not salute, put her hand on her heart, respect the national anthem and all that. But I just don't understand about that. But we're going to watch Republican Crenshaw's video and how he responded to it. So let's just go right here.
Turned her back on the flag during the anthem, and she also put a black T-shirt over her face that said, activist athlete.
We don't need any more activist athletes. She should be removed from the team. The entire point of the Olympic team is to represent the United States of America. That's the entire point. Okay, so, it's one thing when these NBA players do it. Okay, fine, we'll just stop watching. But now the Olympic team, and it's multiple cases of this, they should be removed. That should be the bare minimum requirement, is that you believe in the country representing.
But yeah, he said that the bare minimum you should be able to believe for the country you're representing, which is true. Okay, then I want to watch this one real quick.
Part of that pride in our country means recognizing there are moments where we are, as a country, haven't lived up to our highest ideals. And it means respecting the right of people granted to them in the Constitution to peacefully protest.
So do you know what the Constitution says about peaceful protest?
I'm assuming that she's referring to the First Amendment, which says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, nor prohibiting the free exercise thereof, nor I'm trying to do it from memory right now. It's something like nor of the press, nor of the people to peacefully assemble. I'm gonna pull it up real quick so I'm not mincing it. Yeah, here we go. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just click this one.
Or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble. Yes, I got it. So basically, they're saying that under the Constitution, she has the right to peacefully protest, which is true. However, the U.S. Olympic team, you kind of have to, like Dan Crenshaw was saying, you kind of have to support the U.S. Or you should be on a different team. If you want to go to the Olympics and support someone else, you can do that. But if you want to be on the U.S. team, you kind of have to support the U.S. team. You can't join the military, and then you're in the military and they say salute the flag, and you're like, oh well, actually, I don't really like the flag. I'm not going to salute it. I just don't believe in it. Like, no, you are serving the U.S. right now. You are representing the U.S. You are in the military. You're fighting, obviously, for the U.S. Here, you're competing for the U.S. That's her job that she's applying for, right? She went to these trials, these Olympic trials, to apply to represent the U.S. in Tokyo. That's what she wants to do. And so you can't apply for a job and then not do the job, right? So I don't see this as a First Amendment issue. I guess the White House does right now. Which is good. Like I'm glad that they're finally interested in the Constitution, but this is one of the few exceptions where it's like you can't apply to represent something and then choose not to represent it. That doesn't strike me as a particularly constitutional issue. Although, yeah, but and that's the thing is, right, because of the First Amendment, because of that flag that she's disrespecting, there's even a debate to whether should be allowed to do this or not is all because of what that flag represents. It's all because of the U.S. and the freedom that she has under the Constitution. The flag represents the Constitution that gives her the freedom to do what she wants to do. And now we have to, instead of saying immediately, oh, she's fired, we're done with her, she's never going to compete again, she's never going to represent the U.S. again. Instead, now we have to really debate, is this a constitutional issue? Does she have the right to do that? Should she be, we really, really have to think about this because of that flag. That flag does not let us oppress people in any way or possibly have the possibility of oppressing people in any way, if that makes sense. If you're in North Korea and you turn your back on the flag, they probably just kill you, honestly. You are in the best country for peacefully protesting and freedom and equality. You're there. This is it. This is the best, for the world, for the fallen, sinful world we're in. This is the best you got.
Yep, that is true. Well, I found a verse in the Bible that talks about it a little bit. It says, it's Galatians 5:13. You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather, serve one humbly in love. Jesus sold the ultimate selflessness in laying down his life to set us free. We must also seek to imitate his selfless love by serving others instead of simply serving ourselves. It could be as simple as letting that, I guess, for this verse, I'm looking at the first part. It says, "You and my brothers were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh." So I guess this falls around the freedom part, as in people are using the freedom to get what they want out of it, or not freedom, but they're like using the flag as the American flag as a symbol of hate, but they're also using the ability, not the ability, but the freedom that they have through that flag to indulge in what they want. Even though they're saying the flag is hate, it's racist, these statues, we need to get rid of them, all of that, when it's telling a story, the statues are telling a story. As you said, most people don't think of them as like the average person doesn't walk up and say, "Oh, this thing's about hate." There's a story that's behind it, that the statues were put up so you would be able to remember those stories and to share them with your friends and your family.
Well,
but yeah, I think that's about all.
Just
Galatians 5:13. Okay. Well, everyone, hope you enjoyed episode 2 or episode 3 of Carl's Christian Podcast. If you did, then maybe consider subscribing, leaving a like on the video, and commenting, letting us know what you think about today's podcast episode, and also topics that you would like us to discuss in future episodes. Remember, God loves you, Jesus loves you, and hope you all have a blessed week. See you all in the next episode.